stop before you spend that 1979 quarter, because this ordinary-looking coin could have a detail that most people would never notice. And here's what makes this interesting. You could hold a 1979 quarter in one hand and another 1979 quarter in the other. Both look almost exactly the same. Both say 25 cents. Both carry George Washington. But one could be far more interesting to a collector. And no, I'm not talking about a shiny coin or simply finding an old quarter. I'm talking about tiny details, the kind most people never think to check. The mint mark, the date, the condition, and even the smallest differences in the way the coin was struck. One tiny detail can completely change what you're looking at. And here's the part one don't want you to miss. Because some 1979 quarters are connected to varieties and mint errors that collectors actively search for. So if you have one sitting in a jar, drawer, or even in your pocket, don't spend it yet. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly where to look, what details matter, and which 1979 quarters deserve a second look. And stay until part 2, because that's where we get into the value and the examples that made collectors pay serious money. So grab your 1979 quarter, turn it over, and look closely, because what looks like just 25 cents might have a much more interesting story. Now, let's slow down and take a serious look at the 1979 Washington quarter. At first glance, there doesn't seem to be anything unusual. It's a Washington quarter. The denomination says 25 cents, and the date says 1979. But when you're searching coins, the first mistake you can make is assuming that every coin from the same year is identical. They aren't. And 1979 is a particularly interesting year, because there are several different things collectors can investigate. So let's start with the easiest clue, the mint mark. Turn your attention to the front of the quarter, right below Washington's neck. This is where you may find the mint mark. A 1979 quarter can have a mint mark, and some 1979 quarters were struck without a mint mark. That doesn't automatically make a coin rare, but it tells you something important about where that coin came from. And that's exactly how coin hunting works. You don't look at just one detail. You put several clues together. The mark, condition, strike, and variety. Now, let's talk about something that can make a huge difference. Condition. Imagine finding two 1979 quarters. Both are genuine. Both have the same date. Both are from the same mint. But one has been circulating for decades. It's scratched, and the details are weak. The other coin has sharp lettering, clean surfaces, strong details, and very little evidence of circulation. Those two coins may have dramatically different collector interest. That's why you should never judge a coin just because it's old. Age is only one part of the story. Now look at Washington's portrait. Check the hair, the lettering, the rim, and the overall sharpness of the strike. Then move to the reverse. Look at the eagle, the lettering, the stars, and the outer rim. You're looking for anything that doesn't seem normal. Maybe the strike looks unusually weak. Maybe a letter appears distorted. Maybe the rim has an unusual shape. Maybe there's a strange mark that doesn't look like ordinary wear. But here's something extremely important. Not every strange-looking mark is an error. A coin can become damaged after leaving the mint. It can be scratched, hit, or exposed to chemicals. Those things can create features that look unusual, but they aren't necessarily valuable mint errors. So don't assume. Different means rare. That's one of the biggest mistakes new collectors make. Instead, ask yourself, could this feature have happened at the mint? That's the real question. Now, there's another clue you should pay attention to: the date. Look carefully at 1979. Don't just read the date. Study it. Look at the shape of each number, the spacing, and the overall appearance. Because coin varieties can sometimes involve extremely small differences. And this is where a magnifying glass becomes useful. You don't need expensive equipment. A good light, a basic magnifier, and an accurate scale can already help you investigate a coin much more seriously. But remember, a scale is only one tool. Don't assume that a particular weight automatically proves a coin is rare. Normal wear, damage, and differences in measurement can affect what you see. The goal is to collect evidence, not to force the coin into a theory. Now, let's talk about another important issue: the composition. 1979 Washington quarters were made from a copper-nickel-clad composition, rather than being solid silver. That's important, because people sometimes see an older-looking quarter and immediately assume it must be silver. But the date matters. A normal 1979 quarter should not be treated like an old silver Washington quarter simply because it looks worn or has a darker color. So, if someone tells you, "I found a 1979 quarter and it's silver-colored, so it must be worth a fortune," don't accept that conclusion immediately. Investigate it. Look at the edge. Check the surfaces. Consider the composition. And if the coin appears genuinely unusual, have it examined properly. Now here's where things become even more interesting. 1979 is associated with several varieties and errors that collectors have studied over the years. And some of these differences are incredibly small. That means the average person can look at a quarter, see nothing, and spend it, while a collector, looking at exactly the same coin, might stop immediately. That's the difference between simply owning a coin and knowing what to look for. And there's one more thing you should never forget. Don't clean the coin. Don't polish it. Don't use chemicals. Don't scrub the surface. And don't try to make an old quarter look shiny. A coin's original surface is part of its history. Cleaning can leave permanent scratches. Remove the original surface and reduce collector interest. If you think you found something interesting, leave the coin exactly as you found it. Take clear photographs. Record the mint mark. Record the weight. And make notes about what you discovered. Then, compare your coin with reliable references, or have it examined by someone experienced in US coin varieties. Because the goal isn't simply to find something unusual. The goal is to determine whether that unusual feature is genuine, and whether collectors actually consider it significant. And now, we're getting closer to the biggest question. What could actually make a 1979 quarter valuable? Is it the date? Is it the mint mark? Is it an error? Is it the condition? Or is there something else? That's where part 2 gets much more interesting, because we're going to separate the ordinary 1979 quarters from the coins that collectors may actually want to investigate. And we're also going to talk about the biggest mistake people make when they see an online price attached to a 1979 quarter. So, don't stop here, because the number you see online is not necessarily the number your coin is worth. Now, let's talk about the part everyone wants to hear: value. But before we start talking about big numbers, there's something you need to understand. A 1979 Washington quarter is not automatically rare, and it is definitely not automatically worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. Millions of quarters were produced. So if you find a normal circulated 1979 quarter, you shouldn't assume you found a fortune.